All right. Well, welcome everybody to the, what's today's date? 18th? Friday, November 18th. Part 2 of building a Linux web server. We will be uh, going through our sheet that we have. Let me pull it up on screen here. This sheet here, we started last time, and we will actually be installing PHP. Actually, I think we already installed PHP, but we're going through configuring MySQL and also installing our WordPress. So that'll be pretty awesome. So last time what we went through, um, I did, well, just based off the server, we deployed it. I installed the OS, I upgraded the OS, I disabled SC Linux, and I disabled the firewall. We went through and SSH was already installed. I installed VMware tools and configure NTP, and then rebooted the machine. But then this is where we started last time, where we added the package repositories. Can somebody tell me what the package repositories are? What the purpose of those are?
That is directions to where to get
That's the repository. It's like the library of where all the software is, and all the packages are in there, and we can download those packages and install them on our machine.
We do this so that whenever we go there, we automatically get the most up-to-date.
Yep, most recent. Yep. So it's kind of like a newspaper in a library. If you request, yum install Wall Street Journal, it's going to give you the latest version of the Wall Street Journal.
what does it do with the older versions? Is it just like eliminate them, or
They just delete it out of the there and just push it back. All it is pretty much a file server.
They're deleted. You can't. It's not a repository that you can go there and get.
The older versions sometimes you can sometimes you can, like with PHP 5.3, that's not in the official repository yet, but some people want it, so then they do yum install PHP 5.3, kind of like what we did.
But there aren't like extra commands that you can force a version.
I'm not too sure about on that. Usually it all depends on the repository, and if you're getting into that, then you can create your own repository. So, but we did go through and add custom repositories because we needed to go to the Fedora. Remember, Fedora is more cutting edge for Red Hat. Remember our timeline? We have oldest, and then we have newest. So we have Fedora over here, and then we have Red Hat, and then we have CentOS. So it's kind of like the new stuff kind of pipes down to it. So it just takes some time. But they're based off the same core functionality. They're same code.
Have you done anything with Scientific Linux?
No, never even messed around with it. I heard of it.
Apparently, it too is based on
Red Hat? Yeah, there's a couple of things based off of Red Hat. There's so many different flavors out there. So then after that we installed, remember this command here, yum install httpd. What did we install there?
Apache?
Yep, Apache web server. And then we installed MySQL, PHP. Remember this command, check config. This is what we were talking about earlier on like what it does on enabling the service to run at startup with the boot. Then we didn't really edit the httpd.conf too much, not to what I remember, but we have started the service, and we left off here where we are going to configure MySQL. So MySQL is installed and running, but we haven't gone through the wizard to configure it. Does that make sense? It's kind of like going through, like you double click on an exe and it pops up the install wizard. We just installed it, but we have to change the settings for it yet. So let's go ahead and get connected to our servers. We're going to open PuTTY. And I have mine saved already, so I'm just going to double click on that. We're going to log in as root. And then password 1. Alright, everybody to this screen? Good? Raise your hand if you're not. Alright, awesome. So let's take a look at, I don't know if I have it up on here. Well, this command here. MySQL _ secure _ installation. And what this does, and you can speed it up by doing MySQL _ tab. And it'll automatically pop up the E. And then just do C, and then hit tab again. And then we're going to go ahead and press enter. And what this actually does is, the way I learned on how to configure MySQL was really weird. Like, you actually the service would be running, and then you would use a MySQL command line client and actually log into the server and then run all these SQL queries to change the username and password. So this is like a little easy way out. It's a lot more simpler to use, and it makes a lot more sense to me. And if you read the screen, now since we have this running, everybody has this on their screen, correct? We're going to look at just a screen. All right, so if you just install MySQL, you haven't set the root password, the password will be blank. So just go ahead and press enter. And it asks, do you want to set the root password? Go ahead and press Y. And then the password, all lowercase, what we're going to use is
Okay, I have a
MySQL.
question. Why isn't there a root password set?
It's a default MySQL installation. Now, this is the root password for MySQL, not your server. Separate things.
I'm glad that they made it very clear that those are separate things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of products like that. So go ahead. Now we're configuring the root user for the MySQL database, the super user of the MySQL database. So we're going to make our password all lowercase, MySQL. MySQL. And then remove anonymous users. This is like anybody can access your database. That doesn't sound like a good idea. So let's go ahead and hit yes. And disallow the root to log on remotely. Just go ahead and press no, just in case we want to do something later on. And then remove test database and access to it. Yes. And now we've made the changes, and now it has to reload the changes that we made. So it's going to go ahead and look at the table and pull the permissions from that. So go ahead and press Y. And it says, thanks for using MySQL. Billy, you got a question?
I'm sorry, I just got behind me. Did you disallow remote user?
Hit no.
No. And remove test database?
Yes.
Reload privilege tables now?
Yep, reload them. So now you should have this screen. So we are now configured. But the problem is if we want to manage our server, we're still at a command line thing. And where we have to go ahead and screw around with all that. So let me take a look at my notes here. Make sure I'm on topic. So we went through the Apache configs last time, right?
Yeah.
Where's the main Apache configuration stored?
EPC?
Tell me the full path to the Apache configuration. That was our biggest thing that we had to remember.
Root /
Nope, it's slash. You're in the root directory, yeah.
okay, / EPC
Yep.
/
What's the service name?
HTTPD
Yep.
/ head
Nope. /conf / httpd.conf. So write this down. It's in Etsy, httpd conf, httpd.conf. That's our main Apache configuration file. What is stored in this directory? What's this file? The second one here. What's this file do? Remember? Yep, it's the PHP configuration file. Which one loads first? Yep, HTTPD. Why is that?
Because it calls them.
Yep, it's going to start here, and then what's this directory? What's the difference between conf and conf.d? Conf is the main location of the HTTPD configuration file. Conf.d will then come and look at all these files. Now, if I had that, let's see, conf.d and perl.conf. Whoops. All right, so let's say we had these files on the conf.d directory. Tell me which one's going to load first.
Could you just restate, what is the conf.d?
Okay, so it goes through, it loads httpd conf httpd.conf. Okay, that's the main Apache file. Then, I don't know if it's in that configuration file, which I'm pretty sure it probably is, because there's like over 9,000 lines in it. It will then look in the conf.d directory, which are like more like add-ons to Apache.
What's the logic to that, though? Why-
So if I want to disable PHP, like right here, if it looked in this folder, it would first execute this script, perl.conf, because it goes in alphabetical order. So it goes perl.conf, php.conf, and it will not execute this at all. It has to be a .conf extension. So if I want to disable PHP, let's say I'm having a problem, all I do is just rename this to .tmp, and then it's disabled. And then I just restart the service, and it won't load that. So that's a good thing of like adding it on. And remember, we're going to have that whole, like, it's going to load that container up, and then it's just going to tag those down at the bottom. Does that make sense on the configuration? It loads the main one up, and then just kind of attaches puzzle pieces to it.
What would happen if you forgot the .d on the PHP configuration file? So it's just
Here, oh, this runs automatically. What it does is it does a search inside that folder, alphabetizes them, and focuses on only things that are .conf, and it executes them in that order.
Only that directory?
Yeah, by default, only in that directory. Mitchum.
if you remove the EMD from the second one,
This one? Yeah.
yeah.
Now it can be executed.
So what is the PMD does?
Well, I can name it to .anything. So I can name it to .bak. I could name it to .do not delete. Like,
The important thing is conf is no longer like the end of the file name.
yeah.
And
It,
that's what the software is doing to find files.
yeah, it has to have a .conf at the end. Otherwise, it will not execute it.
You could also just take the f off conf.
Yeah.
Also wouldn't find it.
Yeah.
Because it no longer fits the format that it's looking for.
So it has to have the .conf extension for it to execute that script. So we got that, right? The differences and what folders we're in and everything. How you doing, Bill? Good? Okay. So now back to our MySQL server. We just configured it, right? We just pretty much set a root password and we reloaded the tables and all that, right? But if I want to configure it anymore, I have to use the MySQL client, and it's all command line. Now raise your hand if you want to use command line tools all the time. Exactly. Aaron, you're hardcore.
I did love Windows 3.1.
Yeah. So, but unlike unlike some people, we like to use GUI tools, graphic user interface. So what we can do is there's a project called PHP Myadmin. And what we actually do is put it in its own folder, and then that will run all the PHP scripts that will tell our MySQL server what to do. So it makes it a lot easier to manage a server on actually running it with MySQL. So we can go out to PHP Myadmin. So let's go to Google, PHP Myadmin, and we can go ahead and click this. And then we want to go to the download section. And then don't download it to your computer. What we're going to do is we're going to, instead of downloading it to your local computer, we're going to download it straight to the server. Then we don't have to worry about transferring it twice and doing all that other stuff. So what we can do here is we can go down to the zip file, and we can right click on that and go to copy link address. Actually, I think we have to actually click on it, because it'll take us to SourceForge. And right click on this direct link and hit copy this link address.
What link did you click on?
The direct link here. And you have to right click on it and copy this link address. Okay? So now let's open up our server. And now let's figure out where we are. Let's do ls. Or I'm sorry, pwd. And I'm in my root directory. Now I can download it in here, but I'm actually going to change directories to our actual document root of the web server. Somebody tell me what command I should type in.
CD.
Okay? Now what directory? Nope.
Where are we going?
We're going to the document root of the web server. Where is it located? Nope. It's a variable changing.
DPC.
Nope. Kevin had it. VAR. var. Then what? www. Somebody said it. Then what? HTML. If I do an ls, there's my file. If I want to look inside that index file, less index, there it is, J's web server. Okay? So, now, what I can do to download this file directly, I don't know if I put this in here. We might have a command. Yep, we put it right here. On this list that we have the command wget, and then just the file location. Goes out and downloads the file from the internet. So go ahead, type in wget space, and then just right click. And it fills it in. Okay? You got it? And then we just press enter.
Is there another way to paste in this terminal?
I think you can right click on the blue bar, and maybe not.
Is there a key command to force it?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I've always used right click. So now we're hammering their servers, and mine's downloaded. So sometimes you just gotta press enter and it'll go back. Mitchum.
Mine says there is no such folder.
There's what?
No such folder.
Okay, so you probably fat fingered a command or something. So hit the up arrow to see your last command.
You don't have a space.
Yeah, you gotta put a space here. There you go. You got problems with yours? Okay, no such. Oh, you got to put wget in front of it. So it's doing wget and then the file location. So wget space and then it's going through the HTTP protocol. There you go. Just put wget in front of it. Space. Yep. And enter. There you go. Now it's downloading it. Everybody else good? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to... Huh? Oh yeah, sometimes you have to press enter and then it will complete it. So now what we want to do is we want to unzip. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Let's delete that out. Let's do ls. So right now we have index.html and php myadmin.zip. And if you went to your web server, you could actually download this file through a web browser if you wanted to, but we don't want that. So what we want to do is unzip this program. So we do unzip is the command, space, then just do P and then press tab, and it fills it all in for you. Then press enter. So the ls was displaying and what was in there, and then we saw the file name for it, and then we did unzip space P, and then we pressed tab, and it just filled in php myadmin whatever.zip, because that's the only thing with the name P. Mitchum.
Can't find it, he said. It says it can't find PHP Myadmin. There's no one that, it says it's there, but it can't find it.
So do ls. What's in there? You have index.html. And what's your other file in there?
I think ls and PHP Myadmin slash no dash 3.4.
Is it a .zip? Oh, so you clicked on the wrong file. So your command is going to be tar space dash x zvf and then P and then press tab. Try that.
Should there be a space between the X and the dash? No?
Yeah, no space there.
What is the XZDF?
Extract. I don't know what Z means. Verbose. And I don't know what F means. I don't know. I believe that's what it is. I think it's XZVF. Might be just XVF.
Hey, Jane, can I go back and just redo the
Yeah.
thing? Because this one is not going anywhere.
Try XVF.
XVF.
I forgot the exact.
That's good, you can help me too.
You need help too?
I went back to that, look at my webpage.
Q.
You? All right. I was trying to control C.
Yeah.
Enter,
I
exit.
got stuck in mine too. I was hitting escape, but I think
What does it say?
X is exclude.
Oh, you got a tar.xz.
Exit.
I never even heard of that. So let's go back to here. This thing's redirecting me. I thought you had a .gz. Direct link. Oh gosh. Properties. Now I'll try wget. Type in wget. Nope. All one word. Space. Right click. Enter. Now, on yours, ls, and we're going to rm php myadmin.t. And we're going to get rid of that. There we go. Alright, so now unzip it. So type in unzip, space, p, tab, enter. There you go. Alright, so you're good, Bill?
I'm good.
Alright. So, Now we can go in. We go here and do an ls. We have, here, let me change my colors for you. Settings, appearance.
There's colors to pick from.
Yeah, I'm increasing my blue, modify. There we go. Is that easy to see?
Yes, but the red is, if it matters, the red one should be also.
Okay. I'll change the red. Oh. There we go. All right. So we have yellow, which is a directory, and then we actually have green, which is a .zip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do rm, which is going to remove. We're going to type in p, hit tab, don't press enter yet, and then we're going to add the .zip at the end. And it says, do you want to remove that file? Hit Y and then enter. Okay, so now if we do an ls, we just have that directory in there. So now what we can do to access PHP Myadmin, we can type in your server name. So mine's linux11.learnit.local/php myadmin -3-4-7 or .3.4.7, you know, yada yada yada. That's going to be a pain in the butt. And one thing to remember with Linux web servers, if you did PHP Myadmin all lowercase, it's different than this. You have to type it, it's very case sensitive. So you have to type it exactly how it is. So let's make it easy on us. We're actually going to use the mv command, the move command. And we're going to type in PHP myadmin, or P, then hit tab. So we're going to have the source of what we have, and it's just going to stay in the same directory. So we're just going to add PHP myadmin. So everybody got that command?
Now that one can be lowercase?
Yeah, lowercase at all. Keep it the same. Yeah, I'm just renaming the folder. This is how we do it. We're pretty much just moving it in place. And that's how you rename folders in Linux.
You can't explicitly rename them.
Not to my knowledge. This is how I always rename them.
Move means rename though?
So MV means move. So I can actually do, like, I'm moving this target right here, and I could actually move this to like root/php myadmin, and it will move it there. So
But it's a copy command, right?
no, it's an actual move.
Okay, so it removes the original.
Yep. It moves the original file. Copy is CP,
Okay.
and then if it's a folder, it's CP-R.
Okay.
Kev. So, PHP Myadmin. Type that in. Should it be exactly what we have on the screen?
I don't came up with a slash in between.
Oh, and I renamed mine wrong. Yeah, if you have a slash at the end, it'll be okay. So now if you do an ls, you should have index.html and PHP Myadmin. Everybody got that? Oh, you do have to take the slash off the end?
It's just missing delineation.
Okay, yeah, take the slash off. Mitchum.
I have the file, but I don't have the index HTML.
Well, you must not created one. So that's okay. Well, just do this. Type in this command. Echo space quotes, double quote, and then we do Mitchum's web server. end it with the double quote again, space, this arrow, the right caret, space, index.html, and then press enter. I can't copy that. You got it? And what this command does is it echoes this, it echoes this string out, Mitchum's web server space, and then this arrow stores it in index.html. And if it's not there, it will create it. I think if I do it and there's something in there, it'll actually overwrite it. If you do the double arrow, if I do caret caret, it will append it. It'll add it to the bottom. So Control C to clear out my command. So if we do ls, we have index and php myadmin. Now there is a configuration file within php myadmin that we need to go through. So let's do cd php myadmin. And then let's do an ls. Holy crap, there's so many files around here. Now, to get started, what do you think the configuration file would be named? Yeah, you try conf, config, but conf, it's going to be probably somewhere in that file name, right? So let's do this. ll space star conf star. So now we're listing everything in here, and it's showing anything that has conf before it and conf after it. So right here, this is probably it, config.sample.inc.php. So let's rename that file mv space, just type in conf and then press tab. So we're going to move that mv space config.sample.inc.php, and then we're just going to move it right in place to config.inc.php. So now if we do, I'm sorry, we don't want to do an ls, we're not going to see it anyway. But now what we can do is go into, we're going to use nano config, and then just hit, conf, then we're going to hit enter, or tab and then press enter, and it pulls up that config file. Everybody in nano? Nano space conf and then press tab, and then it will fill it in. So it's config.inc.php. Everybody good? Got it? All right. So this is an actual PHP file. There's only one thing that we need to configure for this, and this is for cookie-based authentication. We need to come up with a blowfish secret, it's called, and it's pretty much a big long hash number. And what you can do is there's free utilities online. Just Google php myadmin, then blowfish secret. And I always use this one, this php myadmin blowfish secret generator. Got it? Should be at this page. And you can right click and copy, or select it, right click and copy that. Now, this is very important. Mitchum. Blowfish. B-L-O-W. Now make sure that before we paste this, that you're hovering. See how it's got two double quote or two single quotes here? Make sure you're on the right one. Oh, right here, below, right below the box.
Suppose we don't have the quote here.
Huh?
Suppose we don't have the quote.
You don't have that at all?
No.
Use Firefox.
The generator?
Yeah, Blowfish. It should be the third link. I'm sorry. Blowfish secret
Oh, okay.
generator.
It's on the right website, but
Oh, it's just a different page. Mitchum, are you on the correct page? And it's that box is not there. You got it. All right. So so just select that hash. It's randomly generated. And then we can. Are we good?
I got a problem.
What do you got, Bill?
You know, I copied it, and I go to paste it in, and it pasted something
What did it paste?
else. And a apostrophe and a semicolon.
So go ahead and just hit Control X.
What?
Hit Control X to exit, and it'll say, "Are you sure you want to quit? N should destroy changes," and then press N.
Okay. Now back to the whole thing.
Yep. So then just hit the up arrow to go to your last command. Press Enter.
Handle, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then
I see it.
make sure you have this selected in here, and then you can just right click and copy.
so what is the point of getting this?
This is a random. It's like a random hash that is used to encrypt the password in the cookie. So
So I could have used any random.
yeah,
generator
you could use any random hash. I don't know if there's like a minimum or a maximum, but I'm sure this one takes you to the maximum. But right here is we can make sure that our right quote is selected, and then we just right click to paste that in there.
Should we take this down as note, like this particular password?
No, not just this particular password. Whatever server you just use that website, it'll generate a hash for you. So when it stores the password, you guys know what cookies are, right? They save your login information. Huh?
Should we go good with milk?
Yeah, yeah. Unlike grandma's cookies, these ones actually store passwords. Not really store passwords, but more of sessions. So, huh?
So they're like fortune cookies.
Yeah, yeah. So everybody have this pasted in. Make sure it's in between that you have an apostrophe on the left and an apostrophe on the right. Everybody got that? All right. So now we can hit Control O to write the file. It's going to ask us what we want to name it. We want to keep it the same. Press Enter. Yep. Control O. Yeah. Control O for save. And then it should say, like, what do you want to name the file? You always look at what it's looking for next here. This is like the status bar. So what does yours say, Rob? Yep, so we don't want to change the file name, so just press Enter. And now it should say wrote 144 lines. Well, your secret might have been longer or something like that. It might have bumped you down. Ah, okay.
Take out the carriage thing.
Yeah. Got it? Okay. All right. So now to get out of this, we just hit Control X to exit. All right. So now let's go check it out. So if we do ls right now, I'm sorry, let's do cd ... to go up one folder. Now we're back at HTML, which is our document root for our web server. ls, and if we go to, mine's Linux 11.
Okay.
Yep.
So I do CD dot, man not found.
cd space ... I'm sorry.
Not smart like dot.
So here's my index file, remember? and then I can access the PHP Myadmin. And there we go. And let's go ahead and browse around in here. So what username and password am I going to put in for this?
Your root password,
Which one?
the one for MySQL.
Yep. This is different from your server. So root and MySQL. And I think mine's messed up. Huh. I accidentally put a quote there. There we go. Wow, good thing I caught that. In my PHP file, on my config, I accidentally put an apostrophe here and it broke the entire thing. That's why I hate programming. But that's why it's important as a server administrator to understand it. I don't know how to write it, but I can read it. It's kind of like Spanish. I can't say it, but if somebody speaks to me slowly, I can somewhat interpret it. So here's PHP Myadmin. Now, even though that we're on one database server, we can have multiple databases on that server. Okay, it's kind of like we can host multiple websites on one Apache server. We'll get to that later. But we did that. All right, connect. Now remember, we have WordPress, which is, anybody ever used WordPress before? Ever heard of it? A little bit. All right. So WordPress is an open source PHP content management system, or known as a CMS. It started off as a blogging. Here, let me pull it up. Started up as a blogging.
No, Joomla the same thing?
Joomla's, yeah, very similar. It's different community. That's open source as well. They teach Joomla here.
Gonna handle PHP?
Yeah. They teach Joomla here, but all the like designers and like all the like web gurus that I follow on Twitter and network with, they swear on their soul of WordPress. If they're not using WordPress, they're making their own content management system.
Joomla sucks.
Yeah, Joomla, in my opinion, blows.
What I was hearing from your detractors was that WordPress does a poor job with search engine optimization.
No, WordPress does an amazing job at search engine optimization.
Why is it easier to find last year's hackathon information with Google or this year?
That's because the WordPress, somebody installed over 9,000 plugins and they corrupted the whole WordPress installation. So Dan had to rebuild it. So, and they might be running another plugin that is running the old information. So, Mitchum, you have a question? Okay. So, there's two things. There's WordPress.com. WordPress.com is where you can create your own blog hosted by WordPress.com, but that's it. But what WordPress.com is they took their software that they use to run everything, and they released it for free, and you can get that at WordPress.org. And this is where you can actually download it and install it on your web server. So WordPress is a PHP content management system. It runs off of PHP files in your Apache web server, and it makes a call to the MySQL database, and that's where it stores all of its information. I'll show you an example. So here we have our website running WordPress. And, it doesn't look like, there's anything running on it or anything special. But if we actually go to it, and I do wp-admin, I can actually log in with my username and password, and it takes me to a back end. And I can go and take a look at all of our pages here. So I can go to edit, and here's where I can make a change, and then I can just go and hit view page, and I'll actually pull up the page on what it looks like. So does that make sense? Now why would we even bother with running a content management system? Makes things a hell of a lot easier. What's your name again? Matt. Okay, all right, I was just making sure. So Matt, have you messed around with WordPress a lot?
I honestly haven't used WordPress a lot.
Okay. Just Joomla, what you did here in the class?
I put it on Joomla here
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I use Titan CMS and a lot of other CMS systems before.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and WordPress is, not always the best solution. Like I said before, it did evolve from blogging. So they like it depends on the designer and how they structure the actual like how they work with the theme and how it integrates with WordPress. But I've talked to a lot of designers and developers, and they swear by WordPress. And that's what all of our clients, if we go to what we've done.
What do they see the difference? 'Cause I'm working my website on Joomla right now, it's kind of making me want to switch over.
I would definitely suggest taking a look at WordPress.
He also uses a Mac, so be careful.
No, I use both Mac and Windows, so. But all these websites that we run, we swear by WordPress.
They have a lot of good themes that you can download and stuff too.
Yeah, you can find a lot of free themes, or they're in WordPress it's called themes, but you can actually buy themes for like $30, and they're like awesome. So, it depends on the business and what they need. Like this one here, we custom developed this one. This was programmed from scratch. It was a shopping cart type thing. All right, don't miss out. I'm not going back. So yeah, let's.
All your websites in one server?
Huh?
Are all your websites on one
Yep,
server?
I run all the websites off one machine, back it up to another one, and then that backs up to an external hard drive.
You're actually serving the work that you do for people?
What do you mean? Oh yeah, I host it all. I won't. If I'm doing a WordPress website, I will not work on it unless they host with me.
Really?
Yeah, they'll say, oh, but GoDaddy this, GoDaddy that. I'm like, no, you're hosting with me, otherwise I'm not doing your website. And I do that because I can guarantee performance, and it's my server where I have full control. If I need anything added onto it, I can do it. I don't have to call a phone number. And, yeah, the price is a little bit more, but they have one phone number to call and one person that will answer. So rather
You
than...
don't have smutty commercials.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
How many sites can you host on one server?
It depends on your server. You could probably, I know on one, I was on with 20 other people, and I had 20 websites myself. So you could easily get up to 500 websites, no problem.
But they're all low volume websites.
Yeah, it all depends.
Google doesn't share with
Well, what happens is when you do shared hosting, so like 521 dimensions and server side up, and then all of our clients are on one server. But if all of a sudden I post an article of server side up under like Reddit, and all of a sudden all this traffic starts flooding in, it's going to affect those other websites because it's all on one server. So you can actually get CDNs, content delivery networks, and you can spread the load, and it will actually, based upon their geographic location, yeah, based upon their geographic location, it will pull content from a local server. So if like people from Asia are accessing my server, even though it's hosted, I don't even know what state it's hosted. I think it might be Indiana or something. Even though that my website is hosted in Indiana, that server will replicate data out to that a CDN server in Asia, and they'll connect to that Asia server and pull that down.
So it's mirroring what's.
Yeah, it's
that
pretty much
file
mirroring
server.
it.
No, it's a bit cost.
It depends. You can get a provider. Um, I can.
Pretty reasonable though.
It depends on who you find.
How quickly do those update? I mean,
It depends on the provider. You have to configure it, I believe.
How
Um,
big is your server right now?
actually, my server is only 512 meg. That's all I need.
What's that nature?
What? Here's one that I heard of, cashfly.com. I don't know what their pricing is. We can look. Yeah, so they charge you by how much you need for the transfer. But it does use SCP and SFTP and rsync uploads. So that pretty much means like as soon as I make a change, it pushes it out. So it's pretty cool stuff. I've never done it before, but it's something I might want to play around with and get used to it. Because I'm trying to force myself to learn like building a massive infrastructure and high volume.
If you're looking at a really high-level professional build, was it like Akamai or Limelight? Those are the ones that we did for breaks.
Oh really? Oh, you used them?
Akamai at breaks for our dealer portal,
Oh, okay.
including live streaming, so that was kind of an interesting thing to do.
Oh, like live streaming media or?
Yeah, I did a project this summer, and we had to come up with ways to live stream multiple cameras, multiple feeds, that sort of stuff, and support iOS, droids.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, and it gets expensive on the bandwidth too. These guys are pretty much, yeah, like for you to run your own bandwidth, that like if you're running a high volume machine, it could be easily 20 grand a month that you're spending on like a big pipe running to your place. So you know, outsourcing to a content delivery network makes a lot of sense for a lot of people, but the security too. You know, your files are replicating everywhere. So it depends on the business.
What kind of service do you have for your server?
For what do I use for hosting?
Well, what sort of bandwidth?
You know what? I don't even know. I know I have a 3,000 gigabyte a month limit, which is plenty for what I'm using. I actually got referred to Jaguar PC through Adam Meyer. He might be in your he's in your 331 class. He sits with Kevin. But you know, for 24 bucks a month, I get my own VPS. That's like the cheapest thing I've ever seen. And my VPS, virtual private server. So rather than me with like I used to use oneandone.com, it was me and 20 other people on one server. So remember when I said like the whole server side up thing and I was running 20 websites off of that? Well then, if somebody else was running 50 websites and one of their websites got on Reddit, it would blast my account too. So this VPS, it's kind of at the same vulnerability because you're on the same host, but at least security-wise, I'm the only one that has access to the operating system and their support team. Yep.
Check out kimsufi.it if you don't mind the French server. It's like
What is it?
kimsufi, K-M-S-U-F-I,
SUFI?
.ie. You get a 2 gig box. Untitled
Oh, yeah, I've heard of these guys.
It's alright, I got 112 milliseconds of ping, so it's not actually too bad for being in France.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is that European company. I've seen these guys before.
They're a subdivision of OVH, and I guess they're like the biggest thing over in Europe, so
Okay.
something to think about.
Interesting. Yeah, I think the one that I have with Jaguar was pretty much their basic one. But you can, the nice thing about being virtual, if you're like, I want more memory, you just say it and then the guy just logs in and just adds more memory. You know, on their software they might have to reboot, but actually in like, I know in VMware, you can hot add memory without even rebooting the machine. So you can hot add CPUs too. So it's like, oh, I need another CPU core. And then you just say, okay. And they just hit add, and it adds another CPU to the operating system, and you don't have to reboot it. So it gets pretty crazy with a
But
lot of that
that's all
stuff.
software. They're not able to actually slap in.
No, not a physical. But they, like, you know,
It's just an allotment.
how many of you went on the data center tour at AITP? Like, we're running, what, 500 servers off that Blade system? You know, so it's all about hardware capacity. So it's pretty crazy how many servers you can fit. And that's like 500 Microsoft servers. I don't think we have that many Linux servers here. So memory-wise, that thing is packed to the brim. So pretty wild on how you can fit it all in a little box that big. So, but some things to check out if you got some cash that you're willing to spend on all that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to download WordPress and install this. So we're going to do a pwd and make sure that we're in the right directory, var www html.
I have email.
Yeah, what's with our mail?
Okay, yeah, the mail is how they send notifications. So if there was like an alert, they email, huh? The system. It's an email system to itself, and it puts it in your inbox. So
The application can do this?
I don't know about any application, but if there's new updates available, it sends you an email to your root box on your own system, assuming that you're using that inbox. No, it's built into CentOS. It does that by default and installs that feature. Yep. Yep. So what we can do here is let's go ahead and download WordPress. So we do the wget space. And the thing that I love about WordPress, I never have to right-click on any links and download. They make it really nice and easy for us. http://wordpress.org. It can't be www. It has to be wordpress.org/latest.zip. How awesome is that? And then press enter, and it downloads the latest version of WordPress for you. And that's nice because you can script the installation. All these commands that we run, you can write a script. You just put it into a document, name it .sh, and then you can use the cron, and that allows you to configure it to run at a certain time, or if you just want to run it manually, just do bash space myscript.sh, enter, and all done. So that's where Linux gets really powerful, is scripting. Any server gets really powerful, is the automation of everything. So now we do an ls, and we're kind of back to the same situation as PHP Myadmin. Mitchum, how are you doing?
Just trying to figure it out.
Got it? Okay. All right, so we're at the same situation as where we were with the PHP Myadmin. So let's do unzip latest.zip. Remember, you can hit the tab too to speed things up. And then press enter. And it extracts it. And if we do ls, now I have index.html, latest.zip, PHP Myadmin, and WordPress. So what happens if I go to learnit or linux11.learnit.local, my server? What will pop up? Will WordPress pop up? Nope. Why is that? Yep, it's in the subdirectory. So I'd have to go to linux.11.learnit.local/WordPress. That's annoying. Not everybody's going to want to type that in, so we want to move that. But before we move that, we want to get rid of this index.html because we don't want that to conflict with the WordPress index.php. Does that make sense? So let's do rm index.html and then hit Y. So now,
I didn't have WordPress come up under my index. I've got the latest zip and PHP, but not.
did you unzip latest.ph or latest.zip?
Oh, that's not what it was. See, he did that again with that.
Yeah. Unzip latest. You should be able to just type in unzip space L and then hit tab.
Okay, but put all of his files in WordPress.
So we got it? Good? All right, so now we can change into WordPress, Cd Wordpress, and we can do an ls, and it brings up all these files. Now I want these files to be in the directory above. So which command do you think I should use? Yep, mv space star space ... What is that command going to do?
Makes everything take a step up.
Yep, moves everything up. So now I did that command, and now if I do an ls, nothing's in this folder. So cd space ... takes me to my document root. And remember, we have that empty WordPress folder in there, so let's do rm space WordPress. Now, I did this on purpose. It says it is in a directory, it cannot remove it. If you ever go to remove a directory, you have to use rm space -r for recursive, and then type in WordPress. And now it says, do you want to remove the directory? And then hit yes.
Apparently you can put the argument after the directory too.
You can?
Apparently.
Oh, that's weird. So now let's try to load up our Linux 11.learnit.local. Oh, it's cached. My browser cached it, so I have to clean my cache on my browser. So I have to go to clear browsing data. I'm just going to...
Seems to be a WordPress zip file. Need this before we can get started.
Wait, just a second. Let's do learn 11.learnit.local. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Linux 11. Oh, really? Okay. Oh, it worked? Okay. So,
Why do you have a different experience than we have?
what do you mean?
We are being told that we need a configuration file.
Where?
There.
Yeah. So create.
Well, you pulled up something before that.
Oh no, I hit the button. Create configuration file.
Oh, right.
All right. So, go ahead and hit let's go. Now we have a database, right? It's asking for us for the database name, username, password, database host, and table prefix. What should I do? Wait a second. We didn't even create a database. So we got to do learn or Linux 11 learn.local / php myadmin. So log into your php myadmin. What username and password am I going to use? Root MySQL. Which database should I use?
I mean, should we
How many databases do I have? 2?
Should we get off the old one and relog it? Is that what you're doing?
No, if you have the page up already, just use that. So
How did you get into that, the one before?
okay, the WordPress, what that's doing is it's running a PHP, it's hitting index.php, which is, our default root document. That's our, if they just put in, if they don't specify a file, the default root document is index.php or index.html. So index.php makes a call and it says, wait a second, there's no wp-config.php. We need to create one. So based off of that it's not there, it displays that let's get started PHP file. So does that make sense? Now if you go to a WordPress site, like when we went to 521 dimensions, it says index.php, check to see if wp-config exists. wp-config does exist. Inside wp-config it tells us what database we're connecting to, the username, password, table prefix, what we have on our settings that we're going to be configuring on these ones here. So this is pretty much creating a wp-config.php, which is the central heart of the configuration for WordPress. So then it says, okay, I'm connected here, and then it goes through the wp-contents/themes/whatever, and it pulls the default theme and actually displays the default themes index.php and displays the website. So you see how we started here and hopped all around and pulled based off the settings in the database on what folder I'm going to. So we want to create a database inside of Php Myadmin. So we have 2 databases here. Those are built in for MySQL to operate. We probably don't want to put our database inside of those, or put our WordPress installation inside of that database. So what we can do is we can click the database button, and it just says create new database here, and let's call it WordPress, and hit create. Now
What's the collation?
that's like something with that's more of like a programmer sense of like what encoding your,
There's a lot of options on there.
yeah, your ASCII. Just
Binary.
leave it default. That's like what, like key. It's like down to like the ASCII level, I believe.
But yeah, those are all different character encodings.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, all the different characters in there. Yeah, there, and like I know there's like multiple forms of English ones, and I remember when I went to WordPress Chicago, or WordCamp Chicago, which is a WordPress convention, like these guys got in this big debate over which one to use. It was like the nerdiest thing I've ever seen.
The answer was ASCII, right? The way God intended.
Yeah, yeah. So it was really weird, but I just leave it by default. I think it defaults to like UTF-8 something.
What's this collation there? I guess I'm not sure what that
Yeah, I forget. It's something down here. One of
that
these.
confuses me because why do they each need their own version?
I
I thought that's what Unicode was getting away from.
I have no idea.
Why we should be using ASCII.
So just leave that by default. It will pick its best thing based off of MySQL's recommendation. And so we're just going to create our database called WordPress. And let's add it WordPress DB. And then we'll press create.
Wait, why did we make 2 of them?
I'm sorry. I didn't create. Oh, I did make one already.
I'm doing it too.
All right. Well, what you can do to delete it is you can click on the database over here if you have a WordPress. And if we want to delete this database, we just go to operations, I believe. Oh, maybe not. Where the hell is it? Copy database.
Yeah, you were right.
Oh, right there, drop database. I'm sorry, this is a new version of Php Myadmin, so I'm getting used to it.
What was that? It's under operations.
Under, yeah, under operations, remove database, then hit OK. So now that WordPress database is gone, and then we can use WordPress DB. So everybody got that? Now we just have one WordPress database. Got it, Aaron?
No, I'm not seeing where operations are.
So you got to click on the database, and then up on the top here, look on the screen. Right here is where we have operations, and then you can click drop the database.
You know, I was in a window and it wasn't showing it.
Oh, really?
Apparently, the style sheet decided, yeah, you know.
So now you got it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if we go back, I'm going to go back home here. This is listing all of our databases. I'm going to click on my WordPress database, and now I'm in database mode. You can see up at the top on where you're at. So now, if I was to go back to here and type in all this other stuff, like my username, which username would I use? Yeah, exactly. The only thing that we could use is root. But that's a big no-no. Why would you want to have your root password, pretty much your heart, sitting out on the internet in a WP config file?
Nobody would bother.
Yeah. So what we can do is we actually go inside of this database and click on the Privileges tab. And we're going to create a MySQL user. This is not a system account. This is MySQL. So we're going to create a MySQL user, add new user, and we're just going to call this WP user for WordPress user. And then you can actually limit it to the host. So I can say this guy can only connect if he's from the local host. He can only connect if he's from this IP address. I can say any host. So we don't need any outside connection. So go ahead and hit local. And then the password, just do password, all lowercase. And you can also generate a password here, which is not a bad idea if you're doing this online. I know my database passwords are super long. All you do is you just paste it in the configuration file, and that's the only time you'll need it. So I would make sure it's like uncrackable. You have to be careful with special characters, though. Sometimes they get angry about that. So now it's default to grant all permissions on database. That's okay. That's exactly what we want. And then go ahead and press go.
That third one for generating passwords,
That's if you want to have it generate a password for you.
okay.
So there we go. We've added a new user. Now if we click back on the Privileges tab,
Well,
you got your user created?
where did you?
Andy, you got a question?
I just need to use the bathroom.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
All right, I just want to make sure I'm not going to miss anything.
Okay, I'll pause here. Anybody else have any questions?
Where go is where you hit create it?
Yeah, go is
Way down below.
goes way at the bottom. You guys want to take a break here? Okay, so we went through and we added the privileges for that user. Now let's go through and pull up the actual config page. Here we go. So now we can put in our information. You guys got a question? No? Okay. Holy cow, look at all the leaves out there. Yeah, looks like our place is blowing over. All right, so now we're going to configure WordPress. So we got to put in our database name, which is WordPress DB. Just go to your website, linux. Whatever your server is, .learnit.local. And since it doesn't have a WP config file, it's making us create one. Got it, Mitchum? Just keep clicking the buttons, it'll take you to this page. Got it? What's your server number?
I'll get there.
All right. Well, I'm not going to move forward without you at this screen. Yeah, make sure you're on the right server. Otherwise, you're going to be configuring somebody else's box.
Install a PHP server, okay?
Yeah, don't install DHCP, Mitchum, please. Got it? All right, so you're at this screen, Mitchum? All right, so we have a database name, WordPress DB. We just created that. Our username, what did we do? WP user, and then we just use password, right? Where's the database located? Local host, which will resolve to the server itself, since the PHP files are installed on the same server as the MySQL server. It's local host. Now you can have it so you can run two servers. You can have it running on server 1 as your web server, and then that can resolve to server 2, which is your database server. Performance. Like that's how you can get by on like running even more websites on one box. You know, because if you're doing, yeah, because like if we're running PHP and MySQL on one box and we have 20 websites, now when somebody makes a request, it processes PHP, which uses more CPU, and then it makes a query to the database, and it's got to pull from the database, which now it's using more. So you can have that by moving it over to another server, and it just works through the network, processes it, generates it back.
Localhost is the same as 127.
Yep, localhost is just a DNS name to itself that will resolve to 127.0.0.1, which is a reserved range for resolving it to itself for loopback. So, localhost and table prefix, just leave that default WP underscore. That's pretty much whatever it's going to name its tables, it's going to put WP in front of it. So you can actually do multiple WordPress installations in one database, just as long as those prefixes don't mix up. So if I was doing a Bill's site, I could do Bill underscore, and then it will add whatever it needs for the table structure. And then if we wanted Rob's, then I could do Rob underscore, and it puts it all in one database. That's not always the best, because what happens is it will, if your database blows up for some reason, then it's going to affect everybody else. So I keep them all separate based off of websites. It doesn't cost me anything to do another database, and programmers will probably prefer it too. So if we go ahead and click submit, what do we see here? What do we got? What does it say? Huh? What? Well, no. What's that first line say? Sorry, but I can't create the PHP file. All right, so it's saying you can create it your own self, but that isn't right. Why would I want to do it myself when this thing's supposed to do it by itself? So what do you think the issue is?
Permissions?
Permissions. All right, so let's take a look. Let's open up our server, and we're in the HTML directory. You can do pwd just to make sure. var www.html. And what command do I use to look at file permissions? Nope. To view them, not to change them.
Oh, well, we can use ls/l.
Nope.
Or ls,
LL.
which is ls.
It is?
And L. Yeah, actually, my Mint install doesn't have the LL. I was freaking out now. My friend is like, dude, that's just ls/l.
Really? I never knew that.
Yep, now you know.
So LL. What do you see that could be a problem here?
What's the difference? I kind of missed. What's the difference between LL and LS?
LL is just a shortcut for ls-l.
Which doesn't have to exist in
Between
Mint.
LS-L and
It's going to show, so LS is just a short preview. It just lists it. So if I do LS, it doesn't show the file permissions. If I do LL, it shows the file permissions.
Yeah, there's lots of details.
So there's 3 things wrong on this screen. Let's see if you guys can identify all 3.
What?
There's 3 things that are wrong on this screen, and that's why it's not working. I would give you a hint. Look at the permissions. What number of chmod am I at? Yep, 644. How did Kevin get that? Remember on, let's see, which one am I at? I gotta log back in. Remember this? This screen here? The chmod? No? You don't? I don't know if you were here that day, Bill.
Was it the first day?
The first Linux day? Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. So for user permissions, we have user. What's this one? What's the other one? What is it? World. Yep. So, and then we have the one on the far left. That's like a hidden thing. But we're not going to worry about that right now, I don't think. So the first number was a 6. So if we look at, here we have the RWX, RWX, RWX. Take a look at the LL. And this is that first part that we're skipping. And then we have RW-R-R. So RW for, watch this, Bill, up on the screen. RW, 4 plus 2 is 6 for the user. Then the next one is R only, so that's 4. And then we have W, which is R, and that's 4. So that means user has read and write, group only has read, and write, or world only has read.
What's the X name for?
Execution. Does that make sense, Bill?
Yes.
Okay, so,
Does it need to have
whoops.
the ability to execute for PHP? Or just read?
The user has to have execution rights. That's the other thing that's wrong. Let's take a look here. We have read, write, read, read. Okay? But this is another part that's wrong. It's owned by root, and the group is root. Whenever you create a user on the system, so if I was going to do, what's my command to create a new user? We want to add Rob to my system. User add. So user add space Rob. Then how do I set the password? Yep, PASSWD space Rob. And then I press enter, and it's going to set the password for Rob. And then I type in the password. And then once I do that user add command, it adds a user for Rob, but also creates a group for Rob himself. Like just Rob belongs to that group. You can actually force other users to go into that group, but that's a bad idea. Don't do that. Create a group and then add people to it. So by default, since we were logged in as root and we downloaded this file, it created it as us, as a super user. But as a security precaution, Apache does not have access to the root user. So what we can do is we're going to have to run 3 commands. We have to change the file permissions because we want to have 755 so that the world can read and execute. We do not want them to write to our server. Our group can read and execute because they're going to be running it as a group. But if we need to, we can read, write, and execute as well. Bill?
Well, I'm looking back on our command line.
Yep.
And I see one in here that the WP and root file has 8.
I don't know what that number means. I think that might be the number of files below it.
Oh, that's not this number that we're talking about, this 7 or
No,
5?
no, yeah, I'm talking about this. The RW,
Okay.
the RW, and then I look here, means RW 6. It adds it. So you have to in your brain break this down. So the first.
So it's 6, that's 6, 4, 4.
Yep, that's a default file permissions for Red Hat based systems is 644.
What are we doing with the numbers?
So we're going to change them.
Use numbers?
Yeah, yeah. So we want our world to have read write or no, our user to have read write and execute, our group to have read and execute, and our world to have read and execute. So what numbers am I going to use? According to this chart.
755.
Yep, 755. So we can go here, and now take a look at this screen. Now just take note of it. RW, RR. Okay, we got that. So if we do chmod space 755, oh no, I'm sorry, chmod -r, because we want it to be recursive, space 755 space star. And
It's a capital R?
yeah, I believe it's a capital R. Okay, so we got that, right? So go ahead, press enter. Now look at my screen here. See how it's RW, RR? Now when I do LL, it's RWX, RX, RX. So this is something that I'm looking for. But Apache still can't access it. So Apache actually has its own user and group on here. So we're going to have Apache just own those files. So we can chown, which is also change owner, CHOWN space dash R, and then should be Apache space, and then I'm going to put in the document root so it sets that parent folder all the way down as well. So I do var www html. Okay? And then we need to change the group on it as well, because now if we do an LL, now we change the owner. This is what we changed to Apache. And then we can hit the up arrow and then just change the chown to CHGRP. And that will change the group owner. And then we do an LL. So this is what yours should look like.
What was that last command?
Change group CHGRP space dash R space Apache space var www
Okay, I
HTML.
thought you had executed another one.
Oh no, I just did another LL to show this off. So now let's go try and create our WordPress.
Okay, wait, yours looks different than mine. Mine says Apache and root.
Apache then root. You got you got to do CHGRP after you change the owner.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, we changed the ownership on it first, which is the left
Oh,
column,
okay.
and now we're changing the group as well.
I just had a question.
Yeah.
So I noticed in this list too, there's some of these have B. Is that
Yeah, that just means it's a directory. So
Oh.
in that other in that other one, remember we were working with 3 digits, but there's actually a 4th space or holder for it, where it will actually do the set UID, GID, and that other one, and when that's set, it means different things for the directory. So a directory means that, executables run with the privileges of the owner. And then there should be another one. Yeah. Executes as group owner, not user. So That's what, you know, that, like, this is something good to take a look at. It should be on the first podcast, these notes.
How come it's XR instead of RX?
That's what I saw it.
Huh?
How come it's XR instead of RX? Like, if it's
That was
RW.
from the previous one.
What do you mean? Up here?
No, on the,
You have to look at it in groups.
Yeah, you have to look at it in groups of 3. Disregard the first one. So it's right here is RWX, that's our user. R, there's nothing set, X, that's for the group. R, nothing set, that's for the world. So now what we'll have to do is just delete this out and then go back to your web server. So go to linux11.learnit.local. And now we should be able to install WordPress. So create configuration file. Let's go. And everybody remembers the information. What am I typing in? WordPress DB, WP user, password, localhost, WP underscore. Everybody's screen should look like this, right?
All right, Sparky.
Got it? Submit. Run the install. There we go. Now, site title, put your name. Jay's WordPress. Username admin, and then we actually have the admin password for WordPress, not your system, not MySQL. This is for WordPress. So just put in like password 1. Actually, let's do a WP password. Let's do that. All lowercase, WP password. Should be just like this. Got like that?
What do you want us to put the username for, Steve?
Just leave it as admin, just to keep it consistent. And then your email, just put in your school email or something. It might actually work. And then uncheck allow my site to appear in search engines. Even though that we're behind the firewall, I just don't want it to push anything out to Google and then have ICIT go, why are all these HTTP requests coming to this IP address? So go ahead and press login, admin, WP password. There you go. You can click on Jay's WordPress and it pops up as me. So up at the top here. So, any questions? Oh, that's because, you mean up here? That thing?
no, like you got a picture and everything. I just went browse web server.
They might have to refresh.
Delete the index. Oh, there, actually.
Yeah, it could have been cached. So, we all set? Any questions?
Lots of questions.
Oh, fire away. What's your question?
Oh, I don't
Okay. Well, I think that's all that we have for today. We will not be having a Learn It session.
You mean we're not?
Yeah.
I thought we'd have like a, having a Thursday Ramathon.
Yeah. So, but next time I think we'll do the WordPress one, where we'll walk through WordPress.
We'll do that.
Yeah, we'll crank through WordPress, how it works. Now,
I'll make sure that guy that I talked to.
now what should we do, Aaron? Should we do more of a high end, just using WordPress?
I think that it would be great to just give us a good overview on it and actually using WordPress.
Okay, rather than like the technical side, how it's structured, and we'll avoid all that.
Maybe a little that if it seems like, you should know this, but
Okay.
for the most part, like I've never even logged on to my account.
What account?
AIPT.
Oh, really? That's
I'm
okay.
getting to it. I've been busy.
Yeah, Dan's not here, so there's no broken feelings or broken hearts. So, any other questions? All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one.